No, wait a second. No, there it is. Live.
Welcome back to Mopai Weekly. We had a little bit of a technology break, mostly thanks to Max. Joshua
That
Daniels
was
joined
fucking
us
you.
out from Seattle.
The friends are just arguing with each other.
Say hello, Josh. Stop talking to your goddamn girlfriend.
I was
No,
talking to you two. All you do
fiance.
is argue with each other.
Fiance. Yeah, that's what
Old
half the
married
show is.
couple.
All
Anyway.
right. Well, we might be married. It's probably legal where you
Oh,
guys are
God.
from. Goddamn Democrats all over the place.
I mean, Marshall,
Goddamn
if you want
liberals,
some
Marshall. The
tax
liberals out here
benefit,
make me sick.
that's a whole
Goddamn
nother
liberals.
thing. And Josh is like gonna go into like putting like homeless people in a garbage compactor. But we're not going to
That's
talk
not
about
what I'm
that.
saying.
Well,
I'm saying is
hey,
liberals.
speaking of homeless people in a garbage compactor, Andy Dalton, not such a great day. I mean, he
Whoa.
did have 360 yards, only one touchdown. AJ Green fell off the map after a 26-point outing in the first week. The leading receiver for the Cincinnati Bengals is Giovanni Bernard in week 2. What do you guys think of that?
Yeah. No? I mean, like, he was a wide receiver. He wasn't a running back, whatever. And there was raining. Like, AJ Green, I guess, can't play with a little water on his hands.
Well, the Steelers' defense is pretty stout. Gio is a guy that I think people should be targeting in week 3. He's open in a lot of waiver wires right now.
I'd
Yeah,
pick him
he's
up,
open in
but
ours.
it's all about whoever's got the hot hand that week, and he just happened to have the hotter hand against the Steelers, and that's where they.
That's a good point because Jeremy
fucking
Hill
Hill.
on certain weeks will
Not
get you
benched
20
him, but-
points,
Yeah,
and then other weeks he'll get you like 3.
yeah.
Fuck picking up Bernard because what? And then like next week he's not going to even start probably.
Yeah, but
What,
two
isn't it
seasons ago I had
Carolina?
him as a RB number 1.
Dude, they're playing Denver next week. No, I'm not starting Bernard. I'm not
Okay.
starting a running
Yeah, but-
running back that's playing Denver. No way.
Well, just last week, Frank Gore got 12 points versus Denver, and here's my argument for Giovanni Bernard versus Denver is that they won't be able to actually run the football. So who's the running back you want out of that backfield?
They're gonna have to pass.
Exactly.
And Bernard can catch it out of the backfield. That's for sure. Nine catches for over 100.
Yeah. So I'll call it right now. I call Giovanni Bernard as a quality flex play going into next week. That's a Mopai staple. I'm putting it.
How many points? I didn't get you there.
I'll go double digit.
We're 10 or above.
Yeah, 10 or above. Giovanni Bernard locking in 10 or above next week.
Damn. I mean, just because I'm a Raiders fan and because he's been catching a touchdown a game for the last few seasons and games or whatnot, Michael Crabtree, touchdown a game. You can guarantee it.
Okay, well, we'll get to him when we cover Oakland's travesty of a game this week.
Fuck you. That was a lucky catch.
Whatever. They had another touchdown over that to win by 14 points, so you need to go ahead and shut up because they got straight up beat by the Falcons.
Suck my dick, you piece of shit.
Moving on to the Steelers side of the ball, D'Angelo Williams continues to be the best running back in football.
Yo,
I don't even know why they have Le'Veon Bell.
I don't even know why he stays in Pittsburgh. Like, he could go anywhere else.
Let Le'Veon Bell smoke as many J's as he wants and just go wherever the fuck he wants. Like, it doesn't even matter. He could be the number 2.
Williams could go anywhere he wanted.
Well, I mean, in Carolina, he really wasn't this productive. You have to ask yourself if it's D'Angelo Williams and Le'Veon Bell being great or if Pittsburgh's just this good at running the football as a team.
No, fuck you. Jonathan Stewart and D'Angelo Williams together was great.
Okay, once at a time, people.
Pittsburgh has always been great at running the football. Always.
It's true. I mean, go back to the bus.
Yeah.
That
even
dude
before
was
the bus.
300 pounds and he could run the football.
That's true.
You've got Sammy Coates going for 97 yards. Antonio Brown, a very quiet day, only 39 yards.
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh.
He couldn't catch a goddamn pass to save his life.
Oh, I forgot. You were facing me in fantasy football.
Yeah,
and that was one of your major disappointments. You did. Okay, but I mean, you're not selling on Antonio Brown, obviously.
No.
It was a rainy game. Weather was bad.
It's just one bad week.
Fitzpatrick and the Cincinnati Bengals defense, some of the better backfield in the league.
Yeah.
But are we buying Sammy Coates? Are we buying this as being a realistic wide receiver 3 moving forward for fantasy football? So like a flex play.
What? Who are we talking about? I'm sorry. Tim texted me.
God damn it.
Max
you know what?
is not paying attention.
I'm like 5-6 drinks in at this point. I finished the bottle of whiskey, and I've just finished the bottle of rum.
I wouldn't take Sammy Coates. He just stepped in because Antonio Brown was having an off day. I'd say.
You don't think the waiver wire it's worth a pickup, keeping an eye on him in a Pittsburgh offense?
I would say the one
guy
to keep an eye on in the Pittsburgh offense, man, is Jesse James.
Yeah,
really?
the new.
I didn't even know who that guy was.
The new tight end. I would definitely give you that.
Ben Roethlisberger loves his tight ends.
He does. I mean, Heath Miller was the man for many years.
But yeah, I don't know. As a wide receiver number 3, maybe Sammy Coates. It was one good week. What did he do last week?
He was good downfield. He had a few catches for a lot of yards.
I'm trying to bring up Sammy Coates. My internet connection cannot both stream and look up at an adequate speed.
Bitch.
I mean, last week he only had 2 catches for 56 yards.
That was it. But I mean, that's
still pretty good. That means he has 4 catches
points
for over 150 yards so far.
No. I got Sammy Coates at 2 for 97.
That's for this week.
Yeah, that was this week. So we got
season,
almost 6 points the first week.
Yeah.
And almost 10 points the second week.
Yeah. But he's more of a big play kind of guy. Like, he needs more consistency. Like, Antonio Brown will snag, like, 20 receptions in a game, you know what I mean?
He disappeared that game, though. He was dropping everything left and right, even though it was raining, though. Like, DeAndre Williams still caught a touchdown and ran for a touchdown. Antonio Brown couldn't even be bothered to have it hit him in the fucking chest and cradle it.
Well, I mean, he got 30-something points week 1. If you average it out between week 1 and 2, he's still like a 16-point.
Well, if you put it that way.
Yeah. So obviously you're not benching Antonio Brown. Doesn't matter what the matchup is. You have to start him. D'Angelo Williams until Le'Veon Bell comes back. You have to start him. I think Sammy Coates is a waiver wire pickup right now, and keep an eye on it.
For a flex, but not a start. But,
all right,
dude, we got to move on to the next one before we spend 30 minutes on this one, too.
Baltimore and Cleveland.
Let's do standouts.
Standouts of what?
Standouts
that was a blowout, Marshall.
No, fuck you. Cleveland had a legit chance.
Okay,
Cleveland had a legit chance.
They lost in typical Cleveland style.
You mean just every week, every day, just in and out?
They lost it the only way Cleveland knows how, right?
By RG3 getting his ribs crushed, and then McCown also getting a terrible injury.
What happened to that offensive line? Like, that quarterback gets hit on every single play.
You can't even say that. Isaiah Crowell ran for 120 yards.
Yeah, I mean, he had a breakout play.
Their quarterback situation, their quarterback situation, though, is embarrassing. Third stringer, no name. And that's only because their other 2 quarterbacks have gotten killed.
Dude. Crowell and the fucking Coleman, the wide receiver, they have things to work with. They just need someone that's a quarterback, actually.
Crowell might be legit, but you need a passing game to make any running game work, let alone the running game in Cleveland.
How good the Browns did, though, against the Ravens moves the Ravens down to the below-average section of the NFL.
No, the Ravens' defense is not what it used to be. People just need to get used to that. This has turned into a team that is Joe Flacco's team. It's not a defensive team anymore.
I mean, they're still good defensively, but, like, the Browns might be coming up at least a little bit. You got to give them that.
Yeah.
The Bills
so let's focus
still
on the Browns.
solidly the bottom.
Okay, so the Browns, both you and Josh are right. The Browns have come up a little bit, and they could be a good team, but the problem is they can't keep a starting quarterback.
Yes.
Because McCown is actually a very productive quarterback in this system. We saw it last year with Gary Barnidge. Gary Barnidge turned into a number 1 tight end. And I think Corey Coleman could be that type of wide receiver 1 guy if McCown was still there, because as soon as McCown left, Corey Coleman couldn't catch a ball because nobody could get it to him.
You know what'll be interesting?
All I want to
if
know.
McCown's out next week. If McCown's out next week, will they convert Terrell Pryor back into a quarterback?
All I want to know is, does their third string quarterback have legs? Like, can he run? Because he's gonna have to.
I don't fucking
He
know.
has zero protection from the line.
So here's the thing for me, fantasy-wise, is that Corey Coleman was seeming like a guy that you could pick up the first half of this game. But you have to ask yourself if he's going to continue to be productive without McCown there in the backfield.
It's hard. It's hard to say. I
would sell high on Corey Coleman right now. He's got a lot of hype after that second week. A lot of people are going to be searching for this guy. If you have him on your team, go ahead and make a trade, get him at his high value, maybe get a low running back number 2 or a starting tight end. Get yourself some trade value.
He's not worth a start. Come on.
Versus a running back too? It just depends. I mean, a lot of people saw this game. People are pretty hyped up on Corey Coleman right now.
I'm not buying.
All right.
Hyped on him.
Yeah.
I think he could be productive.
On the Baltimore side of the ball, Joe Flacco had a decent game, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, although looks like Carson Wentz had a better game versus this same defense.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, maybe you can give it to Corey Coleman because they're going to Miami next after this. Maybe.
Motherfucker, we moved on to the Browns. Get up with it. Or, I'm sorry, we moved on to the Ravens.
Fuck you.
All right. Dennis Pitta has got 9 receptions and 100 yards. We've been looking for a tight end to emerge in Baltimore. Didn't know if it was Gilmore, didn't know if it was Pitta. This could be the emergence of a number 1 tight end.
Yeah, but in week 1 he didn't do anything.
No, yeah. Dennis Pitta is like good for situations.
He was playing the Browns. You could pick anyone against the Browns.
And that's a good
it was situation. A favorable matchup, but it was between Gilmore and Pitta clearly came out as the number 1 tight end, at least in this game. You know, he had competition on his own team.
I'm pretty sure Gilmore's more blocking anyway.
Not last year. Gilmore was a very productive receiver.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet on Pitta either.
We're not.
I'd pick him up.
We're not buying Pitta.
I'd pick him up in our league, because I got Barnidge and Antonio Gates, and I'm not really sold on either of them yet. Barnidge hasn't done anything in the first 2 weeks. Antonio Gates was like a middle-of-the-road kind of guy this week. I need a better tight end, double digits every week.
Jacob Tamme on Atlanta, that is their dump-off guy. Jacob Tamme.
He is a consistent producer of yardage.
I would put Jacob Tamme up there for your good choices.
I think Jacob Tamme is going to be owned in most leagues, though. This is a guy who's known for, being a sort of high or a low-end TE1, high-end TE2.
I'll give you the number right now. 10% owned in ESPN right now.
All right, then, God damn it. People need to go out and get Jacob Tamme. I mean, I thought this was a known thing that he was a guy who caught a lot of balls.
He just catches all the balls.
All right, moving on to the NFC. We had the Dallas Cowboys versus the Washington Redskins.
All hail Dak Prescott. Fuck Tony Romo.
Yeah. Here's my thing. So I'm very happy that the Broncos drafted the way they did, but I also would have been very happy if they didn't pick Paxton Lynch in the first round and ended up with Dak Prescott. Because I
Right?
didn't think they were going to go that way before the draft started. I thought they would end up not picking in the first round. And Dak Prescott, to me, was by far the best guy after you got through the first round.
He can handle the fucking situation. That is what I'm going to say about him.
So he went 22 for 30. That's got to be in the high 70s in percentage. Almost 300 yards. Unfortunately, no touchdowns or interceptions. So fantasy-wise, I think this is the guy that you're not going to be able to depend on because he may get some yards, but when it comes down to it, the Cowboys are going to run the ball.
He's not the starter.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Ezekiel Elliott has, he shut me up. I was a doubter.
Really?
He's come out. Yeah, I doubted Ezekiel Elliott.
You can't doubt.
That offensive line, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you can't doubt anyone behind the Cowboys' offensive line. I could probably
that line gives you 5 yards behind.
I could probably get
Tony Romo gets killed every year. Every single year, Tony Romo ends up in the hospital.
You know what? Now,
I feel
bad. I feel bad for him at this point because, he's been destroyed so many times. Jerry Jones expecting him to come back and start is just mean at this point. Tony Romo has kids. He needs to be able to walk and pick up his kids at this point. He's not going to be able to do that.
Well, that's on Tony Romo. It's on Jerry Jones. I mean, come on now.
No. He was there was a statement where Jerry Jones was just like, Tony Romo's the guy no matter what. Even if Dak has won 3-4 games, they're putting Tony Romo back in.
Well, yeah, because Dak Prescott can't score touchdowns in the red zone. He's not the kind of guy with 10 yards left.
They're still fucking winning. They're still fucking winning. I'd let them have it.
I mean, they're 1-1. Don't say they're winning yet. They're 50%.
That's better than I thought they'd do with Tony.
So, Jesus Christ, I don't even know how to address that.
But they're winning, Marshall.
Yeah, well, that's fine. You're 1-1. You can deal with that. But I think with Tony Romo, this is one of the better teams in the NFL if he can actually start to be healthy.
I'm a Raiders fan. 1-1 is the best thing that I've ever heard.
Oh, good for you. Dak Prescott, what's interesting about him is whether or not he can facilitate starting wide receivers from the Cowboys because they got some talent over there. Des Bryant, he goes for 100 yards, no touchdowns, but that's 10 points out of your starting receiver.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Not counting PPR. So in PPR, he gets 17. Cole Beasley goes for 75 yards for 5 receptions.
What, that's 8? That's 8 in our league, but PPR was probably a 10.
Yeah, PPR, that's 12. In our league, that's 7. Cole Beasley, a guy you should probably look out for in standard leagues as a waiver wire pickup because he's probably already owned in PPR, but in standard leagues where you don't count per reception, he's a guy who could be available. Moving on to the Washington side of the ball, Kirk Cousins has kind of looked pretty mediocre so far. He did have over 300 yards, a touchdown interception, but just not making good decisions by the end zone.
Yeah, just above 50% completion.
Kirk Cousins, I'm just not sold on him. He's
you
not
like that?
He's not
you don't like that?
He's not a star quarterback. I just don't know what it is.
I mean, come on. He's like Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl with the Baltimore Ravens. You just need someone that's not going to make a ton of mistakes.
I'll give Kirk Cousins more than Trent Dilfer. But he doesn't need to be that much more, to be honest, at this point. You got Jordan Reed, one of the best tight ends in football. Pierre Garçon, a very capable receiver. This Crowder guy seems to be very talented. Got options to throw to. He just needs to stop throwing it to the other team when you get into the red zone, and he'll be fine.
1 interception, bro. 1 interception.
Yeah,
I'm not counting him out just yet.
It would be 26-27 instead of them needing to score a touchdown. They could have won with a field goal if he didn't turn it over.
Bro, I'm getting some feedback from you.
Oh. My fault. I mean, the point is, if he doesn't turn it over in the red zone, it goes to 26-27 if Dallas
Yeah.
scores that touchdown, and they can win the game on a field goal and not a touchdown. You can't turn the ball over when you're. It's one of Matt Ryan's biggest problems.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a tough subject for me because I thought they fucking had that.
My biggest takeaway from the Redskins side of this ball is I really am losing confidence in Jordan Reed at this point. I bought him in the third round in multiple leagues, and he's gotten some yardage, 60 and 70 yards,
He's
no
not there.
touchdowns.
He's never been the main target.
No, he is.
He was their top receiver last week.
Yeah, he's the leading target in both games, but he's only getting 6 or 7 points for you.
Yeah.
Well, at least in our league. Thanks, Josh.
But nobody in that league is putting up more, or nobody in that team is putting up more than that.
Well, that's the problem. They seem to be spreading the ball needlessly, to be honest. Why won't you feed Jordan Reed? Like, they keep targeting these third receivers. They're trying to get Josh Doxson the ball, which I like Josh Doxson as a receiver, but he's not showing up the same way Corey Coleman and Will Fuller are, who both came out of the same draft.
Like, they literally had 10 different receptions by 10 different receivers last week.
Yeah, and
That's
they
absurd.
run 3 tight end sets. What is a 3 tight end set?
It's a running play.
That's a running set, yeah.
Like, you're going to run it. Like, you run heavy
But
offense.
they throw out of it.
Yeah, I know. Because he's meant to check down, but he's not.
Yeah, if you're passing out of a 3 tight end set, you're either looking for the big break downfield, or you're looking for the check down to just get the first.
Yeah, well, it's just not working out for Jordan Reed so far. And this is a guy who was one of the most dynamic fantasy players in the last half of last year, and he just isn't quite showing up yet.
Is it still Mike Shanahan for the OC there?
No, I don't think Shanahan's a part of that anymore.
Maybe that's the problem. They changed it up.
All right, moving on to one of their NFC East opponents. The New York Giants end up winning by a field goal, last second field goal over the New Orleans Saints. This is a very weird game because both of those teams, you would think this would be a high scoring sort of shootout, but it turns out to be a defensive struggle.
I think that just proves that both of their defenses are fucking terrible and their offenses aren't what they used to be.
Well, for New York, I'm kind of buying in on their defense. You know, they made a couple of signings in the offseason, big splashes. They got that kid from the Dolphins. They got Janoris Jenkins. They spent a bunch of money in it. So far, the first 2 weeks, they've looked decent on that side of the ball. I think DST pickup, if the New York Giants are available in your league, I would go ahead and get them.
Yeah, the New York Giants defense has been scoring something like, I think it's 1 or 2, first or second in the most points in fantasy football for us right now.
Yeah, Janoris Jenkins scored this week and last week.
Like, the Giants defense has been averaging a score just like the Denver defense so far.
Yeah. I mean, they held the Cowboys to 19 points. You're doing fine with the New York defense. I'd say if they're available, go ahead and pick them up. Eli Manning, inconsistent, not good week 1. He had 300 yards week 2, but no touchdowns.
When are we ever going to
good?
Rely on Eli Manning? When are we going to do that? We're not that foolish anymore. We're older, have more wisdom.
He's a waiver wire kind of bye-week pickup guy.
Josh dropped on this.
I saw that. Shane Vereen is an interesting guy. Maybe with Rashad Jennings being a little banged up, he could get you double-digit points, especially if you're in a PPR. Shane Vereen could get you double-digit points. But even in standard leagues, if Rashad Jennings is banged up, Vereen's a guy you need to look at.
Jennings is probably still going to get more because he catches more.
I think
Yeah, Wolverine. No, they're kind of equal, aren't they?
Yeah. So Vereen's a bit of a receiver coming from New England's offense, and he subbed in with New York last year. There was just such a conflict last year at the running back position in New York. You had Andre Williams, Rashad Jennings, and Shane Vereen all sharing touches. Andre Williams gets cut, so now Rashad Jennings is looking like the lead. But Shane Vereen's kind of your third down back guy because he's so good out of the backfield. So now if you have to think that Vereen's going to get more touches running, get the receiving yards on top of that.
The Giants have never been a ton of. They're not heavy run, and saying that Vereen is going to be a good choice or Rashard is a difficult one. If you want to go for any of the wide receivers, changing between Victor Cruz and Odell Beckham, sure, but Vereen or them, nah. But let's keep on going here. What, Texans and Chiefs? The Texans with Brock motherfucking Osweiler have been great.
Well, I mean, he's doing just enough as far as fantasy scoring goes. He only got about 12 points this week.
You know what? Even though he threw 2 interceptions, it wasn't at times that severely hurt them. Both of their number 1 and number 2 wide receivers had 100 yards. Lamar Miller almost had 100 yards. Everything's working. J.J. Watt is just their defense is doing better every time. Houston by mid-season might be the powerhouse.
Yeah, you have to like their offense at this point. I mean, obviously, I'm going to be biased on Brock Osweiler because I think he's overrated.
You know what? He doesn't make as many mistakes. Absolutely, but he doesn't make the mistakes, and you can pay for that all the time. You know who?
As much as I'm biased on that subject, you're correct. Will Fuller is clearly the number 2 receiver. There's not a competition with him.
Not even close.
And Strong anymore. So Will Fuller, if he isn't picked up, I mean, Jesus Christ. Will Fuller.
You know what? Will Fuller
in every league.
For any league right now, if no one has him, he is probably the best pickup.
No, well, you would be surprised. I can't say the other name because it's in our 10-team league, and I don't want you to know about it because I'm trying to pick him up. Anyway.
No, but the percentage, the percentage owned, the percentage owned. What I think he's still, no, Will Fuller. This is one that we stumbled upon. 79% owned.
Okay, so people know about Will Fuller.
If there's a chance that he isn't, though, pick him up now.
Well, and I would go ahead and say if he's on your team, he's startable week in, week out. You need to put him in your flex spot. Maybe not wide receiver 1 or 2, but as long as you don't have running back is tough this year. It's not a deep position. So
no, it's not.
If you have Will Fuller on your team, you can put him in your flex spot and be very happy about that.
They're playing New England next week, though. That is tough. They're playing New England.
Yeah, but a New England team out there, they're going to get for 1 or 2 quarter outs next week at least. Houston's going to have a lot of possessions on offense.
It would still be tough. I feel like that would be a toss-up. DeAndre Hopkins, sure, you could convince me of that all day long.
No, I'm selling out on all. I think Houston's going to do very well next week with Brissett starting. I don't think the Patriots have a chance. I mean, he's a nice quarterback coming out of NC State. He did well in college, but there's no way that he's going to get touchdowns and consistent third downs.
You're saying no way? You're saying no way, but then there's still Bill Belichick coaching him. So, I don't know if I'm willing to bet against that.
I am very willing to bet against it. I will give the Patriots 5 points next week. Would you like to make a board bet?
Ooh, 5 points? Seriously?
I will give the Patriots 5 points.
I mean, what are we betting?
No,
Josh,
it's
Josh,
just
Marshall is betting me, giving the Patriots 5 points that the Patriots win against Houston next week.
I mean, kind of the opposite of what you said, but yeah, we get the gist.
Well, whatever. Whatever. But still.
I would take that. That's some pretty good action right there. I'll be right back.
Well, are you going to take it or what? Don't be a pussy.
I'll take it. What are we doing? Like,
this is just a board bet.
I'll buy you around when I get there next month.
On the show, we'll hear who's most right and who's most wrong. Every time we disagree on something, we can make a bet board out of it.
No, dude. I will be there at the end of the month.
What's that?
I will be there at the end of the month.
Oh, will you now?
I'm getting there early for Josh's wedding.
All right. I already have a slap on you.
Oh shit, you do, motherfucker.
I do. But just
I'm alive.
New England versus Houston, and I give you 5 points.
Yeah, you got okay. We'll do the slap. We will do the slap.
Oh God, slap bets.
Slap bets.
How much? What's the wager here?
Well, he already has a slap on
one
me.
slap.
Okay, one slap.
One slap.
To bring the slaps to even at 0.
I mean, like, either he slaps me or no one gets slapped.
No, I'll put up. It'll be even riskier for me, but I'm so confident we'll win by 4 points. Okay, 5 points, 4 points.
Whoa!
I'm so confident that I will make a slap you, and if I lose, both of you get to slap me.
Whoa! That's one heck of a wedding present, Josh. That is one heck of a wedding present.
Wait, Marshall thinks that Houston's gonna win, or the Patriots are gonna win?
Houston will win against the Patriots
wins by more than 4 points.
Oh yeah, I 110% think that Houston is gonna come in there and wreck the Patriots.
I'm gonna say.
So you're not making the bet?
No, Marshall, I'm on your side here. I think that Houston is gonna put a hurting on the Patriots this week.
Thank you. All right, but Max says
like
you're willing to make this bet, right?
Yeah.
Every time I bet against New England, it comes back to butt fuck me. What do you want me to do?
They're down to their third string quarterback. Third string.
Okay. Wait. So, what do you like? They've won with less. They have won with less.
I guess, but this third string quarterback is gonna have, the Houston defense just coming down on him hard.
All right, Josh, I need you to shut up because he's willing to make a bet. You need to stop talking him out of this bet. All right, Max, we're 4 points.
We're digital shaking.
4 points. Slap bet.
As long as you record it and put it on YouTube.
I don't know if I can hold back for that kind of thing. Your face is just so slappable.
Right here, I'm saving it. This cheek, right here, I'll shave it. I will just shave this side of my face.
That's so tempting. All right. Next game, NFC. We don't need to cover it for long. Carolina just stomps the 49ers.
You know what? If the Denver Broncos didn't feel like headbutting Cam a few different times, maybe he would have done better against the Broncos.
The Broncos officially have Carolina's number. I love this.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, yeah, throwing your head like they gave him a fucking concussion. They should have taken Cam fucking out that game.
Yeah.
And you're telling me no, that wasn't fair after that point. He was seeing triple.
You know what?
He was thrown to the guy, 3 people to the left.
Yeah. That's called defense. That's what it's fucking called. You put that quarterback on a stretcher, and then you face the second quarterback.
I mean, that's probably not what he wants, but okay.
Well, the big takeaway from this game is Greg Olsen is obviously one of the team you need to be starting him. Kelvin Benjamin in my dynasty league before the season started. I think he's going to be one of the better wide receivers in football. Cam Newton was already throwing for MVP numbers before Benjamin came back. Benjamin comes back as a very decent receiver, and he's going to be getting 8 to 10 looks.
Yeah.
Game.
If you have Greg Olsen or Calvin Benjamin, you start them. That's it. You don't need you start them every week.
It's a must. Jonathan Stewart gets injured. He's a guy who needs to be started in flex if he's available, but we need to keep track of this injury, see if he's going to be okay because he has a history of being out.
What's the dude's name? Moncrief? No, what is it? Whitaker. Put Whitaker in if you have him next week.
Absolutely, yeah. If Jonathan Stewart misses any time, Whitaker is going to be a realistic flex play.
Tolbert maybe still will hawk a TD, but Whitaker, 16 rushes and 100 yards. That guy is solid.
Here's what I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean,
about those running backs.
Tolbert was the guy that a lot of people are used to being the backup, the legitimate number 2 in Carolina, but this Whitaker guy comes out of nowhere and seems to be their true favorite.
Okay. Do we need to talk about the Cardinals and Buccaneers? The Cardinals raped the Buccaneers. We can just move on after that, right?
Well, I think one big story out of that is where is Jonathan Brown? What's up with John Brown?
Doing nothing. Literally.
Brown is an all-purpose person for big plays. That's not the person you count on. You count on Larry fucking Legend to get the TDs. You count on David Johnson to get the TDs. You don't count on Brown.
Statistically, in the last 2 seasons, John Brown has been more productive than Michael Floyd and Larry Fitzgerald. So going into this season,
Brown
was the guy
with the punt returns. Punt returns and kick returns are the addition for Brown.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. You might be talking about there's 2 Browns on the Cardinals.
That's really confusing. And there's 2 Johnsons?
Yeah.
That's really
so John Brown
confusing.
is number 13. He's one of the speedier wide receivers in the league, and he's kind of the Cardinals' long play guy, but he's registered a total of 4 points between game 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And he was their leading point getter in 2015.
And I'm going to go back to my previous statement. Fitzgerald or any of the Johnsons, you have a better chance at getting points.
Okay. Harold, I could definitely see that.
I can't believe Chris Johnson had a resurgence.
Mike Evans seems
Chris Johnson.
Consistent.
No, we need to talk about Chris Johnson having a resurgence. I can't believe
Chris Johnson had a resurgence when he went to the Cardinals. I thought that guy was just going to go there, play out a couple years in his career, and then get traded, and then just eventually drop off the radar and nobody would even remember him.
Exactly.
He's CJ2K. What are you talking about?
I'm just saying, that's honestly how I thought it was going to play out. It didn't.
That's his bitterness as a Titans fan talking.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Right. You know CJ2K. He was there when... But no, I mean, honestly, he needs to be owned as a running back, too, in all leagues, especially if you have the other Johnson, who I think is the best. If I had the number 1 pick, other dumbasses pick Adrian Peterson, but I would go with David Johnson.
I picked Adrian Peterson in my other league, you guys, and it is the worst decision of my life.
Oh my god, I feel you on that. I feel you on that.
Why go that?
Doing I thought he would just be okay, but he sucked. He just sucked.
He is not coming back this season. I just don't even have hope for it at this point. I'll start Arian
that's a
Foster
little
before
much.
him.
It's a little much to say he's not going to play meniscus tear. This is a very basic injury that a lot of people have come back from.
Yeah, 6 weeks maybe.
I mean, nobody's even talking about 6 weeks.
They haven't announced anything because they
We're
don't
talking about the next couple weeks.
Oh, fuck that. I don't believe it. He's too old.
Did you
I
see this
wasted.
guy after he got his ACL torn? He almost had, or no, he had above a 2,000 yards, right?
Yeah, that's true. It's fucking true. He did have a 2,000-yard season after the ACL tear. But there's only so many times you can tear ligaments in your knee before you're a robot. And
I mean, you got
I'm
a
pretty
point.
sure there's no robots in the league so far. So what has he got
That we
going
know
for him?
of. That we know of.
Stefan Diggs might be
All
a
right,
robot.
Patriots and Dolphins. We'll get onto him. Patriots and
No.
Dolphins. Garoppolo's going to be down.
Stefan Diggs, you need to say something about.
I mean, we're
Bradford
getting to it.
loves.
It's coming up later. That was the Monday night game. We're on Monday. We'll get to it.
Fine.
All right. Out of Miami's team, Ryan Tannehill, you're not starting him. It doesn't matter if it's even off of waivers. He's not dependable.
No, fuck that.
Jarvis Landry seems like a pretty consistent guy you can stick into your lineup.
He seems like the consistent number one. I have him on my team. I have not started him, but he has been consistent with at least 10 points.
Yeah.
So, in having Jordan Matthews, Larry Fitzgerald, and who's the fucking other guy that I got? Amari Cooper. Like, he becomes the flex player when I have all those people, though.
Yeah. So, I mean, in a 10 team, maybe Jarvis Landry is not a guy you look at, but when you get a 6, Jarvis Landry is easy. On the New England side of the ball, LeGarrette Blount's a monster. Like, when is this guy going to stop being the better running back in football?
I hope he punches another coach in the stomach. He has been doing great, and I'm keeping him starting this whole time since Adrian Peterson
Let's not get into
decided to
punching.
sit on the bench.
If you have LeGarrette Blount, don't trade him for anything. I don't care what it is. I mean, maybe Antonio Brown or one of those guys, but other than one of your top 4 or 5 players in the league, you're holding on to LeGarrette Blount for dear life.
You know the running backs I have, though, right? LeGarrette Blount, Adrian Peterson, Jamal Charles. That is what I drafted.
All right. This is not about you.
I'm pretty sure it is about me, all right, everyone.
Waiver wires, Edelman and Chris Hogan are both receivers that you need to pay attention to. Edelman's looked really good so far. Or I'm sorry, not Edelman, waiver wires. Amendola.
Yes,
is
there
what
you
I mean.
go.
You need to pay attention to him. He got and 50 yards. Chris Hogan had 80 or 90 yards the first week, plus a touchdown, and he got almost 60 yards the next week. He's a guy available in every league. Other than that, I mean, the Patriots are what you think they would be. We're waiting for Brady to come back. Moving on to the next score. What do we have here?
Give me the next one.
Oh, my information's fucking up. Who haven't we covered yet? Let's go to Broncos and Colts.
Oh, Broncos and Colts? Okay.
Broncos and Colts got C.J. Anderson, very clearly a number 1 running back in fantasy football at this point. Week 1, almost 100 yards and a touchdown. Week 2, I think at least least 100 yards plus a touch. He's just a reliable back, and his injury history has prevented him from being the guy you go to when you draft, but providing or avoiding some sort of big injury, he'll be one of the better backs in football this year.
He might not have a whole ton of rushing production, but he will have good spread out numbers.
Yeah, I mean, the only concern with him is going to be Devontae Booker, the rookie for Denver, who's looked very good so far. He fumbled early in the first game, but he's getting, split carries. CJ Anderson got 20 carries, so obviously more than Booker, who only got 9. But Denver does like Booker, so it's kind of the thing where if you're buying all the way in on CJ Anderson, you need to look at Booker as being your handcuff.
Yeah, but Booker needs to be there just so CJ Anderson can make it the whole year, though. It's no longer the type of player that we can just go a whole year with just CJ Anderson.
Position that a lot of teams have gone to the 2 people strategy.
It's working out better. You
not
can
many
actually
bell cow
make an
backs. I
investment.
mean, honestly, your Raiders are one of the teams that seem to have one of the bigger bell cow backs. Latavius Murray, I'm a big buy in on him.
Washington and Jalen Richardson. His 2 backups have each scored a touchdown the last 2 games, too.
Yeah. So for the rest of Denver, the only guy right now you really want is Demaryius Thomas. It doesn't seem like Emmanuel Sanders is getting a whole lot of looks. Trevor Siemian seems to favor Thomas.
Sanders has been dropping too many.
Yeah, I mean, sell high. If you can get something for Sanders, even a flex, like a consistent flex starter, I would go ahead and do that because I have not liked him so far in Denver's offense this year.
It's a little bit, yeah, he's been Butterfingers. He has been major Butterfingers.
Andrew Luck didn't have a good game, but you can expect that against Denver's defense. I would continue to start Luck every single week, no matter what. Frank Gore is a guy you have to start looking at as being a legitimate running back to start week in and week out. Because even against Denver, he got himself double-digit points.
Yeah, he's been a great receiver for most of his career, and it'll be the way that he'll be able to play long until his mid-30s or whatnot.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that just always sees the field. He doesn't miss many games. Kind of an iron guy like Cal Ripken in the Orioles.
Yeah, he's another one just like Matt Forte. He needs to have. He doesn't get a huge hit on him most of the time.
Versatile back and a guy you need to be starting. Let's move on to the game you almost moved on to. Los Angeles and Seattle. Los Angeles comes out with their first ever win at home.
You know what? It is just sad how bad the Seahawks play against the LA Rams. It is sad. It's not surprising at this point. It's just sad.
Weird. This sort of number 1 or number 2 team in the offseason. And I really didn't know where that came from because they didn't add anything. They, in fact, lost multiple players. So why would they be better than they were last year?
Yeah, you saw ESPN's little ranking that they had preseason rankings, Seahawks at number 1. That is bullshit.
No, their defense isn't even number 1, and their defense is arguably the better side of the ball. So how could they be the leader in the league?
Their defense is still definitely very good, but Russell Wilson only knows how to throw it long and hand it off. That is all he knows how to do. He did not deserve that contract, not a single dime.
Wynn is a guy that I'm selling, or I'm trying to sell in our league. You need to get rid of him if he has any value on your rosters because he's going to fall hard compared to what he did last year.
I mean, sure, Russell is at least not a guy that makes a ton of mistakes. You can give him that. You can give him that trophy all day long, but he's not the guy that wins the game. Like it was Marshawn Lynch that won the game, and Russell passed it long downfield, or it was their defense that won the game.
So the big question coming out of Seattle is who do you buy into now that Thomas Rawls is again struggling with injury? Christine Michaels seems to be the guy that I would put my waiver wire ad on.
In our league, though, he's not worth the start. He just isn't. He doesn't catch it. He just runs, and he only had 10 carries for 60 yards. He's not worth it in our league. Maybe in a PPR, he's worth a start, but it'd be like a low start. It wouldn't be worth it any other way.
Maybe not a start, but in any league, standard or not, I'm picking up Christine Michael just in case Thomas Rawls is not going to be healthy into the future.
No, you know what? The one player on Seattle's team that I would pick up, Tyler Lockett. 4 catches and 99 yards. He is the guy that Russell Wilson goes down the field for.
I think Lockett's going to be a week in, week out flash in the pan. 1 week he's got points, 1 week he doesn't really want to focus in on him.
Absolutely. If you have a team, Seahawks that are playing a weak defense, Lockett all the way. Graham is absolutely useless because Russell doesn't pass it short. Russell doesn't do the slant. He does not do the slant. Have you ever seen him do a slant? Because you have not.
Graham is just kind of useless altogether. Seattle made a trade for him. It's turned out to be one of the worst trades they ever made.
I bet Graham hates every single fucking minute that he's on that team. I bet he hates it. They should have gotten a blocking tight end to help their run game because they got rid of so many offensive lines.
Moving over to the other side of the ball, Los Angeles, you're obviously not starting Casey Keenum. Todd Gurley is troublesome at this point. You have to wonder if this is a guy that you can sell as an RB1 and get something back for a higher value.
They got rid of Chris Long, and they got rid of a few other linemen. I don't put this all on Gurley. They had a very good offensive line last year. They even had a better defense than they did last year. They got rid of a few people on defense as well.
But I mean, at this point, if I can get a number 1 receiver in Ryan Matthews for Todd Gurley, I'm taking
that. You know what? If you want one person on the Rams team that you can count on, I would give you Kenny Britt. Kenny Britt was all over the field and catching.
Yeah, he's the guy I want to talk about as far as being a waiver wire pickup because obviously Kenny Britt's not starting in most leagues. I doubt he has even that high in ownership at this point.
Let me check. Keep going.
But he showed some good potential last year with this, and through the first 2 games, I feel very productive.
We got 8% ownership on ESPN.
8% is too low for a guy who's scored 9 this week and at least 8 last week, I believe.
And here's the next few matchups. Next one is Tampa Bay, and most likely either Revis, Revis is going to be covering him, or Tavon Austin. So I would still give him 5 receptions. Next one after that is Arizona, so I don't know if he's worth the pickup. But after that, Buffalo, Detroit, New York, he's got some points to earn this year within the next few games.
If you only have to sit him once in the next 5 weeks, that's honestly very good. I want to sell out on Britt. I really like that pickup right now.
Yeah, he is like if you're looking for someone to get you probably a guaranteed 7 to 8, maybe if you're lucky you get the 10 or 12. 7 to 8
Yeah.
sounds great, though.
I really like him on the waiver wires. I think we'll go ahead and sew him in as our official Mopai waiver wire pickup of the week.
Yeah, most valuable pickup. I would agree with that.
All right, he is locked in at that point. Moving on from that game that sucked so hard at 9-3, we have the San Diego Chargers beating the Jaguars 38-14. Good God.
Who thought that Phillip Rivers would have someone to pass to after Keenan Allen going down? Honestly.
So if Rivers is still anywhere near leagues, go ahead and pick him the fuck up.
Yeah, Rivers still great, but I had my doubts without Keenan Allen. It's not Antonio Gates anymore, so I was just like, who's gonna pick up the slack?
For sure. Now that Keenan Allen, Benjamin might be a top 10 receiver.
You should put Benjamin. No, dude, you should put Benjamin in the top 5, not top 10.
I mean, that's very possible. I think he's the kind of guy that if people aren't completely sold out on him, you need to buy in.
Melvin Gordon,
Tyrell. Oh, Melvin Gordon. I've tried to make multiple trades already in both my leagues, giving up number 1 receivers for Melvin Gordon.
With with Benjamin and Gordon, it's really hard for they are a challenge for our 2 favorite teams in that league, in that division. I thought the Chargers were going to be weak as hell, but it's not the case.
Travis Benjamin is definitely going to be trouble. I think no matter what league, you need to sell out on Benjamin and try to acquire him on your team. He's going to be one of the best receivers in football for the rest of the season. Gordon's a guy I buy in on right now because he's doing so well. But who really knows? You know, the Jaguars' defense is not historically known for stopping the run game. And Kansas City has not looked as strong as they did last year. So maybe this is just a schedule thing. And Melvin Gordon is looking this good because of the first 2 teams they faced.
You're going to say that, but KC still had a really great front 4.
Yeah,
and their linebacking core hasn't changed in a few years, and they were solid. And so it's hard for me to say that they didn't have the stopping power. I mean,
no, I was kind of trying to play devil's advocate on that one. I really do think that Melvin Gordon's a guy you need to be looking for in your leagues to make trades for him.
But let's make a better point for Melvin Gordon right now then. Next is Indianapolis. After that is New Orleans. After that is Oakland. That's 3 games that I could tell you right now. That is 10 points or more.
Yikes! Yeah,
that is 10 points or more right there.
If you have a Jamal Charles, trying to think of another starting running back that people just assume is going to be great. You have Todd Gurley. I'm trading Todd Gurley for Melvin Gordon right now.
Melvin Gordon, if he is available or tradable, is probably worth more than every single one of those.
It's surprising because last year he was so mediocre, but he's a guy you really need to look out for right now.
If I had enough foresight, I would have traded Adrian Peterson week 1 for Melvin Gordon.
I mean, it wouldn't have made sense necessarily at that point. But
if I could see the future, though, I would have traded for Melvin Gordon.
It didn't make sense when you picked Adrian Peterson number 1 overall, so I guess it would have.
It was number 2, so fuck you. It was number 2.
Whatever. Who picked number 1 then?
It was Josh. He auto drafted.
What did he take?
I thought he auto drafted Antonio Brown.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Moving on to the Jaguars side of the ball, Blake Bortles had negative points for the first half and somehow still pulled out a 20-point performance. I think he's a guy who needs to be started. 8th quarterback.
Blake Bortles is tough because he's not bad, but I feel like he's just stuck on this bad team.
Well,
I
and
don't know what to tell you.
He's gonna have interceptions, but he also just continues to produce touchdowns.
But at the same time, he was over 60. He was 60% or more on completions.
Yeah, you're right. He was this week as well, and he had 50 attempts. How many quarterbacks get that many attempts in the NFL?
Right? They fucking trusted him with the ball to pass it downfield. They want him to have those opportunities.
Obviously, a disappointing week, but I think if you can make a trade where you're buying low on Blake, go ahead, because we're have somewhere else to go. Nowhere.
They need TJ Yedlin to do better. If he does not do better, like Bortles doesn't have that opportunity to pass.
I think another really good buy low is Chris Ivory. So Chris Ivory last year was one of the more productive running backs in football, even though he split carries in the Jets offense. And Yeldon is clearly not the guy. They've given him opportunities as somebody would need to take that job. So as soon as Ivory is healthy, which is the only problem right now,
guy at best, but they need a starter.
Go ahead and get you some Ivory, because you could probably trade a flex position wide receiver right now for Ivory, and I bet he will pay off like a running back number 1 by the end of the season.
Yeah, I can see that with his flexibility out of the pass.
Buy low on Allen Robinson right now. I'm Allen Robinson
even Hearns, I would buy low on.
For sure. Both of those wide receivers I buy low on. Allen Robinson especially, because I have felt the temptation to just get out of it. To just, oh God, this is terrible. Allen Robinson's not going to work out. Let me run away. Dude, that's all temptation. This guy is young. He's very good. He's going to work out eventually this season.
You would have been better going with Mercedes Lewis, their tight end.
No, because Julius Thomas had 71 yards.
Lewis is more guaranteed to get a touchdown.
He's not. He got one this week, and congrats to him, but he's not. I disagree with you on that wholeheartedly. Here's another board bet. I bet you Julius Thomas gets more touchdowns this season than Mercedes Lewis.
Is he still a whole person? He keeps getting injured.
Who's that?
Julius Thomas.
All right,
he still a whole person?
It works out in your favor.
Or is this the guy that you're talking about that's a robot by now?
No. It works out in your favor. Because you're right, he's not the healthiest, but I will take Thomas over Lewis for touchdowns this season. Board bet.
Okay. So you're saying a guy. Oh, okay. Now I'm looking at the numbers. Baltimore has a good defensive, a good linebacker core. Indianapolis is banged up.
What are you talking about? They're on the same team.
I will take that bet against Baltimore.
All right, we need to. What was the first one we did?
It was an equalizing slap bet.
Was the slap bet? Yeah, okay. We did the slap bet. We turned it into that. We're not doing
equalizing. It was equalizing. Yeah. This would be a +1.
We're not doing a slap bet on Lewis versus shit, I should know his name since I'm betting on him.
Julius Thomas?
Thank you. Julius Thomas. Couple drinks got in me, so we're just keeping track of who's right and who's wrong at this point. That one's not a slap bet.
Okay, I'll buy you a drink then.
All right, yeah, that's fine.
Oh, dude, they make garbage plate egg rolls at this bar in downtown Rochester.
That sounds fantastic.
We can do that.
All right. My favorite game is next.
I don't want to talk about it. Can we just skip that one?
The Falcons win 35-28 over the Raiders.
No, that fucking catch to tie it up was bullshit. Bullshit. And then
it was complete bullshit.
They pushed Amari Cooper out of bounds. How is that not a penalty? They pushed him out of bounds, and he caught it for a touchdown, and then didn't count.
Well, because you have to catch it in bounds.
Like, that should be a rule that you can't fucking push him all the way out of bounds. They pushed him like 4 feet out of bounds.
It makes me feel so good inside. I don't know how to express it.
No, fuck you.
All right, well.
Fuck.
Well, here's some good stuff. Let me pump up your Raiders here.
Marshall, don't even start that conversation right
What?
now. If the Raiders will beat the Denver Broncos, I think it's the New Year's game, the Raiders will win. I will bet you that right now. I will give you a slap for it.
Dude, we already made a 5 slap bet on the first Raiders Broncos game.
When did that happen? We did that
Jesus
already?
Christ, where's the slap bet commissioner? Because we made a 5 slap bet on the first Broncos Raiders game.
If we're recording this, we should put it up then. Okay, fine. It's a 5 slap bet whatever. Whoever the winner is gets 5 slaps. Raiders Broncos the first game.
Oh yeah, I mean the Broncos are just clearly a better team at this point.
I mean, it's New Year's, right? What? Right? It's New Year's.
I feel like it's within the first 6 weeks or so.
I'm pretty sure it's New Year's. I think there's a second game after that, but it's around New Year's.
Either way, you'll add many, many more slaps onto your total whenever it happens.
What?
If you can't beat the Falcons, how do you think you're going to beat the goddamn Broncos? You can't even beat the Falcons.
No, I'm sticking by it. Fuck you and your Broncos. Fuck you and your Broncos right in your fucking ass.
Right now, do you think the Oakland Raiders would beat the Panthers? If you had to bet your life on it.
No, we were talking about division stuff. I'm not betting my life on beating the Panthers. Screw that.
Okay, well the Broncos beat the goddamn Panthers, so why would you bet against the Broncos?
It was fucking luck.
No, it wasn't. They should never have been able to kick that field goal because
if every single one of the Broncos players feels like headbutting Derek Carr at high speed every single time, yeah,
we have to.
Okay.
I'm sorry your quarterback got hit. Oh my god, we need to defend all quarterbacks. Oh my god. No, they're goddamn football players. You should be able to hit
them. If they know how to actually form tackle, people would not get injured as often. This is why rugby is a much better sport.
Pussy.
Oh, anyways. You want to play rugby? You want to play rugby?
No, I'm a smart person. I don't want that to happen to my body.
Yeah, it's because you're called a pussy.
No, I'm smart. Anyways,
see,
Derek Carr.
We will go over rugby. We will go over rugby in another thing.
So Derek Carr is an automatic start. I've been trying to say for a long time, but you fucking cut me off. Derek Carr needs to be started in your league. He had 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Latavius Murray is an automatic start. This is a guy I want to buy a high on right now.
Murray is hard for me to say that he's an automatic start because he was 8 rushes, 57 yards, and 1 touchdown. Washington, 6 rushes, 46 yards, and he was close to a touchdown a few different times too. I lost you, Marshall. Marshall. No, this is like my favorite part.